Hi, my name's Amanda and I'm from Grace Monroe Home, where we teach you to transform the ordinary home into an extraordinary home. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a bow that you can use for your mailbox or you can use on your front door. You can really use it wherever you want, but we are going to be making it out of Deco Mesh. So let's go ahead and get started. To make this Deco Mesh bow, you are going to need some mesh. Now this is a 10-inch mesh that I'm using today, but you could use 10-inch, you could use 21-inch. Really, it's your preference and the size bow that you want. Then I'm also today using a Bowdabra Bow Maker. Now this is a very inexpensive tool and it's great for making bows, especially mesh bows, because it helps you to hold your mesh in place and makes it so much easier. So this is a very inexpensive tool, $10–15, and I definitely highly recommend that. Now I've got some 26-inch gauge floral wire. I've also got scissors that I'm going to be using, and I've got some wire cutters. So let's go ahead and get started with our bow. The first thing we're going to do is make our tails. Now the length of your tails are really going to be determined by how big you want your bow and what you're using it for. Today I'm going to make them about 36 inches total, and I'm not measuring, but if you wanted to measure it, you definitely could. So I'm just going to cut this mesh off right where I want it. I'm going to get my Bowdabra out, and the first thing that I'm going to do with my Bowdabra is I'm going to put my wire in there. So I'm just going to get a good, nice, long piece of wire, cut it off with my wire cutters, and then what I'm going to do with the floral wire is I'm going to fold it over just like that. So I've got a nice long piece of double wire. So I've got it folded over, and I'm going to put it right down in my Bowdabra just like that, and then tuck the wire under. Sit my Bowdabra down, and then I'm going to put my tails inside the Bowdabra. And to do that, I'm just going to gather it right here in the center and just put it down in there just like that. Now what I do to make sure that it's even, I just take it and adjust it and just get it as even as I can. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's as even as I can get it from the start before I start adding any more mesh. So you kind of just push those out of the way, and you can put your wire out of the way because you're done with that right now too. So now I'm going to start making my loops, and so to do that I'm just going to take about 1 inch here, 1.5 inches. I'm just going to gather it up just like that and put it right down into my Bowdabra Bow Maker. I'm going to push it down really well, and now what I'm going to do with this roll is a little bit unconventional, but this is how I do it. I'm just going to throw it right on the floor. Now you could leave it on your table beside you, but with mesh it does get a little bit tangled up, so I feel like when I just throw it on the floor and let it kind of do its thing down there, it works out much better. So I'm going to go ahead and start making my loops. Now the size of your loops are really going to be dependent on how large you want your bow. Because it's Deco Mesh, we do like it pretty big. So today I'm going to be making about 7-inch loops. Now I'm not measuring, but it's approximately 7 inches. And so I put my first loop in just like that. And so I'll do that again so you can see that. So I have my mesh already down in my Bowdabra Bow Maker. I've got about 1.5 inches on this side. And now I'm going to make that 7-inch loop, or however big you want your loop, and I just put it right down in the bow maker just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Now to make sure that my loops are even, I just take them and I pull them up just like this, and I kind of measure them side by side just like that. And now this is the Deco Mesh. It does not have to be perfect, but I do want to try to get it as close as I can to the same size. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my next loop. I'm just going to put it in just like that. Make sure it's relatively even with the one in front of it. Do the same thing with my next loop. Now we will fluff out this Deco Mesh and get it looking good at the very end, so it doesn't have to look perfect right now. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going back and forth, putting my loops in just like that. This is very simple, especially once you get the hang of it. And if you'll notice, I'm just going back and forth. And I'm just pushing down on that deco mesh as I go along with my bow. Now, it really varies how large you want your bow, how many loops that you're going to do. Now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loops on each side, so I believe that that's as many as I'm going to do for this bow. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this extra deco mesh that I've got that's still attached to the roll down here on the floor, and I'm just going to cut it off and leave it a couple inches, just like we did with the other side. So I'm just going to cut that off, and now I'm done with that, okay? And so, to take it out of the Bowdabra Bow Maker, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up my wire. Now, the whole time I'm pulling up on my wire, I'm also pushing down on the Deco Mesh bow. And then I just take that loop, I put the ends right inside that loop, and I pull, okay? And I take it right out of my bow maker. So I'm going to separate my wire just like that. And I'm going to pull the wires down around the back. So it looks like that right now. I've got 2 open wires that I pulled around back, and I'm just going to take them and I'm going to twist a few times to make sure that that wire is really, really tight around my bow. Okay, once I get it tight just like I want it, this is what your bow is going to look like before you fluff it out. So now I'm just going to take my loops and I'm just going to go around back and forth, and I'm just going to fluff these out and get this bow looking like I want it to look. And so to do that, you know, it just takes a few minutes, and you just play with it a little bit. Get all your loops out just like you want them. And just get it as big and pretty as you can get it. So you still have this wire around here, around back, and that's what you're going to use to wire it to whatever you're putting it on, whether you're putting it on a wreath or a mailbox or a door even. There you go. You've got a Deco Mesh bow that's really simple to make, and you can make this for any holiday, for any occasion, with any color mesh that you want. So now I've actually attached my bow to a mailbox swag, and what I did was I just took it and I wired it to my mailbox swag, and then I just kind of fluffed out my tails, and I could wire them here if I wanted to, and then I could decorate with this with fall flowers if I wanted to do that. But there's really so many things that you could do with this bow, and it's really fun to make, and it's just very festive and really makes a big bold statement. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this. For more DIY tips and tutorials, visit our blog at www.gracemonroehome.com, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the little bell so that you get notified when we release new videos. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.